But is it relevant?
Of course it's relevant.
When you say of course it's relevant...
Well, by that point, it's the audience's show. The decisions have been made.
But surely the director still has an input.
I mean, he had his vision, but he's gone. It's someone else's now.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, what if this car journey was set to music? What if what we're saying could be said in a song?
Hey, that's not a bad idea. Perhaps we can use it. If James Corden has trademarked it, it's gonna go wrong. We could ask significant questions. We could get important points across. Like, are we vlogging for art?
And is art a springboard for fame?
And will fame get folks to trust us?
But will they trust us if it's just us, me and you?
Two leggers and their reviews. People often ask us, how do we make our choices? Lots of things to think about when vlogging a show.
Creating a video to showcase our voices. And I don't mean our vocal cords, I mean what's below.
We could ask significant questions. We could get important points across. Like, are we vlogging for art?
And is art a springboard for fame?
And will fame get us a paycheck?
But will a paycheck mean that we're sellouts? And if we sell out, will they yell out me and you? Two-leggers and their reviews. Key change!
Maybe someday our show will get a feature. Maybe our own cable channel, Leggers TV.
Break a leggers on TV, what could be better? We could even... Sweeter.
We've been through this, you know the lyric is sweeter.
But here's the thing, it's so confusing, like Simon, because like the syllables, better, sweeter, but it's feature.
Yes,
I mean, does it rhyme?
Absolutely, it rhymes. I'm so sorry, we need to go from the key change, to be honest. Maybe someday the show will get a feature. Maybe our own cable channel, Leggers TV.
Break a leggers on TV, what could be sweeter?
Oh, lovely, classic.
We could even interview the goddess Patty.
Dame Lapone?
Mm-hmm.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
She was Evita.
I know.
And even Mama Rose.
We could ask significant questions. We could get important points across.
Like, are we vlogging for art?
Mm-hmm. And is art a springboard for fame?
And will fame get us a sitcom?
And will a sitcom get us on Ellen?
And will Ellen get folks to like us?
And if they like us, will they like us, me and you? Two-leggers and their reviews. And their reviews. Hello fellow leggers, we are back!
I know, right? It feels like
it's been a
long time.
It's been
guys.
summer, people.
I've forgotten what you look like. It's been that long.
We have missed you. We hope you have had a good summer.
Yeah, we've had a great summer. And apologies, I know we sort of full started a few of you on saying we were coming back and then we didn't.
Postponed. And I hate people
who
postpone. And there we are.
Yeah.
Postponing.
We're the people that you hate.
We are. I hate myself right now.
Well, we took the little leggers to London and saw The Lion King.
Yes, not sure if that review is out yet. I'm being blinded by the sun.
Yeah, apologies
Looks
for
as
the
if I've got a mask on my eye.
Here.
Like, I'm a cyborg.
If you suffer with photosensitive
Oh
epilepsy, we literally have no control over the lighting levels when we're in the car. So it's a lovely summer, autumn evening now, because we're into September. Can you believe it? We'll all be dead soon.
But here we are.
That's how quick life is.
And on that
by.
note, we could be dead soon.
Yeah.
We're back for a theatre chat. There's loads of comments. Shall we start with some comments?
Shall
from the
we
last
start
video?
with some comments?
So
I'm
we
talking
had
about being dead soon. If we get blinded by the light and have
we may well be dead soon.
Career off the road. Imagine if this was the last thing we ever did. Just imagine.
Do you think they would fish this out, and if whoever it was that found it would
go
broadcast
viral? That's what it would do, wouldn't it? Because people love that shocking sort of thing. There'll be like a big campaign about don't vlog when driving, and we'll be the poster boys for it. That's a morbid thought, isn't it? Let's move on to some of your comments. So, last time we talked a lot about moving seats.
Oh,
like,
yes.
when is
So
it?
long ago.
I know. I can't remember. We're talking about. May as well go on to new things. But we talked about, is it ever okay? Like, what's the stance on it? Have you ever risked it? Have you ever been caught out when moving seats? It's a minefield, guys.
Since then, I've got to say, we did go and see. We were so naughty. We went
We'd
and saw.
never do anything
We went and
naughty.
saw Blues in the Night at the Kiln Theatre.
Yeah.
And I think, were we on the slips?
Of course we
I'm
were on
trying
the
to think.
slips, because guys, like, it as lovely as it is to think that we get invited to press nights and
All
we
of
get
them.
to sit, premium stalls, and that would be great. But sometimes we just have to buy slip seats so we can afford to be in the room.
Anyway.
We've been there, right, guys?
Anyway, coming up to Curtain Up, and there were seats in the main auditorium,
A lot.
like facing.
Yeah.
And we're like, should we just ask the usher if we can move? Go on, because we don't want to move, because especially after some of the comments we had.
Yeah.
We'll just check. So we asked the lovely usher if, you
yeah.
know, there's loads of seats. It's all right if we move, and she said, no. Go and check with box office.
Go and see the box office.
Basically, buy another
pay
ticket.
more for the seats if you want to move into those seats. Literally shot us down.
Shut us down, and we're like, but they're just there.
I
we
know,
can
it was
touch them.
literally like, and they were on the ends as well. It wasn't like we've disturbed anybody.
disturbed anyone.
The row wouldn't have had to have got up.
But we'd asked by
Yeah.
then. And what did you then do, Leg
Oh
assignment?
my god, like, guys. So I had this little thing in my head. Ever heard the saying, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission? And I was just
But
thinking,
we'd already technically
I
asked
know,
permission.
right? And I mean, I'm not going to
Been
do that
denied.
again. But I thought to myself, well, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like, if we chance it and she gets us to move back, then, you know, I mean, then we just take, oh, I'm sorry, what are we like, eh? So we did it. Like, I
moved.
said you weren't going to go.
I wasn't going to go, but the worst bit then happened. The people on the opposite side saw us go, so then nearly the entire slips on the other side got up to move.
We started
about
this
8 people,
revolt.
a domino effect. But then the usher on the other side got up and was like, whoa, no, where are you going, people? And then they started pointing at us, almost going, well, they've moved. And we were literally shrieked,
Wanted to die.
wanting to go invisible, like, don't move, act as if we
Yeah.
shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
It was proper
But no
orcs.
one came and moved us.
No one came and moved us. Our
Strange,
usher had...
right? I think Ara should have given up on us. She was like, I'm not sure what these guys are going to do.
But then we spent the pretty much all of that first act in a state of
Yeah,
anxiety.
couldn't enjoy it.
Thinking the
Like,
usher
I
was
enjoyed
going to
it, but
come
I
and
was
talk to us.
panicking the whole time.
Or the actual owners of the seats were going to come and come to us. Like, anyway,
I said afterwards, it just wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the anxiety attack that it brought on.
and as proper, especially because we'd already asked and she'd said
Yeah, she
no.
said-
Otherwise, we wouldn't
Isn't
have
that
bothered
the
us.
worst? Like, what are we like? We're gonna be blacklisted. I mean, there's other reasons we'll be blacklisted. Way before moving seats is an issue. But R. Baton gave a great comment. Hi, Richard. Lovely to know you're there still, and once more, saying that he worked in a box office and noticed latecomers are common. So those lovely seats in the middle that are empty may have someone coming in at a 10-minute point. You know,
And
a latecomer's
adding
point.
to our anxiety.
Which we've said before, like, that would cause even more disruption if the people came for those seats. Although, I have this theory, if you're late, go home. Like, firstly, no latecomers readmittance, no latecomers points. I'm all about that. I'm really sorry, I know shit happens. Like, you get stuck on the motorway, there's a tube strike, stuff happens and you don't make it on time. But you've got to know when to cut your losses and realise it's not worth disturbing an entire auditorium of people for. Go home. We had this at
I
Shipwreck.
was going to say there's a couple of things here. There are some venues that... Did we talk about this before? I can't remember.
Maybe.
But there are
Sorry
some
if we're
venues
repeating.
that do enforce that. The
Yeah.
Almeida Theatre,
Yeah.
you ain't coming in.
Yeah.
You've missed the start of the show, you've missed it. The Trafalgar Studios, you missed the start of the show, you ain't coming in.
Yeah.
There's a screen and there's earphones, you can listen to it.
That's
watch
what
it
happened
from
to
there,
us at the
But
Almeida.
you're not going into the
We
auditorium.
were told that we could enter at the halfway point, at the interval, but we decided no,
We'll
like
rebook.
we'll just rebook.
Whereas some
It's our
venues
fault.
don't. And same with the readmittance. Like, they say no readmittance, and they mean it. You go to the toilet, you ain't going back in again until the end of the show or the interval. But other places, they say it, but they don't actually
Yeah, they don't
enforce
enforce it.
So, I don't know. Anyway, where were we? We've gone off on a tangent.
Which will cause more
Latecomers.
disruption if someone's in the seats. Yes, if it's a quiet show, most theatres have house seats to sneak latecomers in.
Yes.
That's fine. If they're somewhere at the back and
Makes
no one
sense.
needs to move or they're on an end, I can understand that.
Definitely.
At least there's less disruption. My rule as an usher and box office staff is wait until the interval and decide to move at that point, because latecomers will have arrived by then. So you're much more likely to get away with it at the interval onwards, is what Richard is saying. They went to see Virginia Woolf a few years ago. Restricted view seat £10, and the seat next to them was £90. They checked the website before they went in, and the seat next to them was still available at that point. So they thought they'd chance it, and it was fine. Got away with it.
I thought that was going to take a turn then.
No, it was absolutely fine. And I suppose if it's a case of just moving back, right? Do you know what else? I tried to do it at the Donmar.
Oh, you did, and you got denied.
And they came.
When we went
the
to
seats
see...
were empty, and I moved into.
So we were in standing seats.
We bought our standing seats.
I say this every time. Standing seats.
Standing places.
Standing
because
places.
At the Donmar's small, and we bought our tickets so last minute. All that was left was standing spaces.
And we just wanted to be in the room where it happened.
Yeah, and we're glad that we did, because it's great. Check out our review for that.
For the
for appropriate.
Appropriate. That's
yes.
it.
And I thought there was some seats just there. They were on an end again. Like I didn't have to get in, because that would have been awkward. So I thought I'll just sit there, and maybe they won't come. And they came, and I was just like, oh God, I'm such a chancer. Look at me, I'm such a white boy. And then I had to go and shirk off back to my standing space and be like, please don't look at me.
Do you know what? Just on a separate note, they were really
They
really
apologised to
vocal,
me as well.
They were a real vocal audience. I think, were they from America? I don't want to stereotype, but I think they're American, and they were giving proper gasps, proper like, oh no, the two. I thought they heightened the show for me.
Yeah.
Because I was feeling.
So you were glad they turned up, basically.
Yes. I'm sorry that you got turfed out.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I would never. If you've bought a seat, stay in that seat. Is my advice to you. Don't do a me.
Okay.
I'm not the oracle on this.
What other comments do we have?
Other comments we've had was the Wiley Trout again. I don't change seats. They may be open seats in first class when I fly, but I don't leave coach and sneak into that area.
Ouch. Okay, I guess that's a good point. When I'm on a train,
it's
as
elitist.
well.
Have you seen Bridesmaids? We should. It's equal opportunities. We should be allowed to sit in first.
So we wouldn't do it on a flight, and we wouldn't do it on a train. Well, I don't know. Some people might jump into first class and plead ignorance, but why do we think it's then acceptable to do it at the theatre?
Yeah.
If you do it at the theatre.
I mean, not that we ever did. Sean Nolan. Hi, Sean, friend of the show, fellow legger. I got told once by a theatre usher that moving seats is a real issue, because if you aren't in the seat that you booked and paid for and they can't find you and an issue arises, they won't know where you're there. It's not a register. It's not like a school. That sounds like, if it looks like bullshit and smells like bullshit, you don't have to eat it to know that it's not a brownie.
I gotta say, I don't think I fully agree with that either. I'm just trying to think. We just seen a show and the sound wasn't great. So in the interval, we went and found front of the house member of staff, and they moved us. They didn't take our names.
Nope.
Didn't take us. They said, okay, come and sit there.
And I mean, Sean makes that point. He says if you rock up with cash like I did today, buy it on the day. They don't go, I'm just going to need your name and address for that.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't need that.
I think that's a bit of an old wives' tale.
It's just complete.
I'd like to think that's right, that people could track you down to your seats.
Yeah.
And someone really important was trying to get important.
But Sean says he always thinks about that when he moves in the interval. Because you do, Sean. I mean,
so when you move, you just want to grab your nearest usher and go, excuse me, my name is Legger Nathan and Legger Simon.
If there's a medical emergency,
if someone is contacting me, this is where
to
I
find me in this suit. Makes no kind of sense, that does it? We also talked a little bit, and we'll talk a bit more about it today. We talked about nudity last time.
Oh, didn't we say we're going to signpost? We signposted towards it, I think.
Yes, we got a comment.
Embarrassing moments.
Do you want to cover a comment on that now?
Let's go for a comment on that.
Okay. So the Wiley Trout said Hair on Broadway was the first time they ever saw nude performers. When the show was hip, it was even when the show was hip, it was stupid, and that Equus is well known for it. And I suppose that segues into our experience of nudity on stage, right?
Well, I was thinking, I was more interested in your experience, fellow leggers, about your most embarrassing moments of being at the theatre.
Like if you're with your mum.
Tying that into, kind of nudity, because we've seen quite a bit of nudity.
Although I remember there was there was a phase that we went through a few years ago where it felt like we couldn't see a production that
Without
didn't
flesh.
have loads of flesh on. So there was knockers in the wind. There was.
Well, how are you going to describe the rest of it?
There was trunks flopping about of all shapes and
Elephant
sizes.
trunks, you mean. Okay.
Flopping about in all shapes and sizes, and it just felt like it was this thing that theatre went through, particularly West End went through at that time.
I remember my first moment seeing flesh was Spring Awakening in London, actually, and I was, in my late 20s.
Yeah.
I'd gone through all my adult life without seeing nudity on stage. I think all it was topless.
You've barely seen any
breast
nudity in
came
real
out.
life, had you?
That shows how little you know Lega, Simon. And I remember thinking, is that? Oh my goodness! It took me by
Charlotte
surprise.
Wakefield's breasts? Is what you were thinking?
I was thinking, is this an actress's breast? Has she got her breasts out? And I remember feeling a bit uncomfortable. Since then, obviously, seen all sorts.
Yeah, I saw Spring Awakening on Broadway, so I saw Lea Michele's breasts in that.
Did you?
Yes. And I saw it in the West End as well, so I would have also seen Charlotte's. I'm not comparing, I'm not about to say which breasts I preferred.
I mean, it's quite a big artistic decision, I would have thought, to show, it spins the piece in a different light, having nudity in a piece.
I'm sure I'd probably seen it before this, but I very clearly remember full frontal male nudity in Bent, which I saw in the West End in 2006, I believe.
Okay.
I saw it with Alan Cumming, and I knew it was coming, so I wasn't shocked by it. I knew it was coming. Alan Cumming. It wasn't him that got his bits out, but there's a character in it it's written, isn't it?
Wolf,
That they,
I think,
yeah,
is the
that
character
they
part.
walk naked across the stage, full frontal male nudity, which I
Yeah.
think is in a different level to breasts.
Well, we
because
also
page
saw-
3, like in the Sun for years, all through my childhood, couldn't move for breasts.
Yeah, but there's something
Even in the
different about
newsagents.
seeing it in a musical,
Is
or
it?
seeing it, suddenly in front of you on stage. It took me by surprise. I remember we saw songs. What was
Song
it?
from Away.
Song from
which
Away
was Simon
at
Stevens'
the
play.
Young Vic,
Yes.
where it was one person. It was a monologue,
Mm-hmm.
a one-hander, and halfway through he just took all of his clothes off
Yeah.
and wandered around naked.
For the rest of the piece as well,
For the
for like
rest of the
like
piece.
an hour, completely naked.
I don't think it added. I don't think it added to
wasn't
the
what-
piece.
in my
it was
opinion.
an Ivo Van Hove
Yes,
direction as
production.
well,
and it wasn't. It's
he
not.
literally wanted to strip everything bare. He likes to strip everything down, and I don't think it added to the piece. I don't think it was a narrative in. Was
Why
it?
he was naked,
I
I
wonder
don't
if it was a
remember there being a
directorial
reason.
decision as opposed to a writer's decision. Anyway,
I mean, I love Simon Stevens, but it wasn't my favourite Simon Stevens.
I'd like to know if it's in the script.
Other ones we've seen, Cleansed.
Cleansed, that the
there
national
was
massive
violent
controversy.
nudity in that, absolutely. That was
Full-on sex
That was a
and
different
simulated.
level with rape. Nudity like that
Yeah.
wasn't just nakedness.
Hardcore. They had people
Mrs.
walking
Henderson
out.
Presents was very commercial, and there was a lot of nudity in that.
Well, didn't they
'Cause
wear
that's-
flesh suits, or were they actually
I
naked?
seem to remember. I seem to remember seeing bits.
I'm just trying
Comment
to
down
think.
below.
Did they wear
Do
flesh
you know anyone
suits?
that's been in it?
Miss
Let us
Henderson
know.
Presents just recently.
I think there were bits flopping about.
I think they're probably definitely topless, but I wonder because it was quite classy as well.
Yeah, because that's the point, wasn't it? That's the only way they could show it.
But all of these later ones in adult life, even Equus we saw recently, I was fine with that. Now I think I'm fine with it. But what were
Well,
your
you've never
first
been-
moments?
You don't mean fine with it is that you've ever been prudish. You're just a bit more immune to it, the shock of it.
Climatised.
Yeah.
It's not so much of an issue
Ten
now.
a penny now.
I think it's
But hair, as Wiley Trout mentioned, is absolutely renowned for it. I saw the Broadway cast when they came over to the West End of the Gielgud 2011, maybe 2010.
Okay.
Was it 2009? Couldn't have been that early. I don't know. But anyway, and they were all naked. So Casey Levy,
Yep.
Gavin Creel was the only one that didn't get naked because his character doesn't. But who's Audra McDonald's husband? Will Swenson. He was naked.
Didn't Audra McDonald's just have something recently where she kicked off because some guy was in the audience filming or photographing her naked?
Yes.
As well. And
Yes,
she
so it ties in.
So all ties in
Don't
there.
take pictures of... never
come
put
on.
your camera on in the theatre.
Jeez.
And certainly don't take pictures of naked actors on stage.
If you're looking at pissing people
they
off.
don't want... They want to keep that in the safe environment of a theatrical experience, right?
Leggers.
Don't want it all over the internet.
Okay, you need to channel your inner leggers.
We say this a lot.
We say this a lot because we've been to the theatre a few times recently where we have seen, almost too far for us personally to be able to address it, audience members breaking theatre etiquette.
Yeah.
And they continue to do it through the performance because everyone around them turned a blind eye. They didn't say anything.
Keep saying
You
it.
need to channel your inner leggers
And challenge it.
and just let people know.
Yeah,
It doesn't
that
have
it's
to be
not okay.
rude. It doesn't. Did it just? I just had to say, excuse me, please put your phone away. It's really distracting. I think the young girl who was sitting behind obviously wasn't aware. She just said, oh, sorry, put it away straight away, not done again. Despite the fact that, as you were saying, there was an announcement at the start of the
So
show
she clearly didn't
saying,
care enough to acknowledge that. It was only when you, as a person,
Yeah.
in a physical form, not just a voice, challenged her, but then she cared enough about it to do something. So complete disrespect for authority of a disfigured voice. So she'd do well in 1984. She wouldn't listen to Big Brother. She'd probably be killed off straight away, wouldn't she?
However, but I'm saying leggers, channel your inner legger and let's start to stop this.
Let's
Let
start
people
to
know.
stop.
Let's start
There
to
was
stop.
a fantastic article, I think it might have been in the New York Times or something, which said that all you need to remember is 3 golden rules.
Oh,
Google
this is giving me a
It was
nightmare.
brilliant.
I'm going to give up on bleeping out any of
3
these words.
golden
I
rules.
apologise for
No,
any
I'm
bad
not going to
language.
swear.
Okay, well we already have.
No,
so.
but I'm not going to do it. I'm not
Alright.
planning on doing it again. I mean, once you want me to.
No,
But
it's okay.
Basically, going to the theatre, unfortunately, and this is the experience that you are expected to subscribe into, and if you don't subscribe to this, don't go. It's fine. There's other entertainment out there. Theatre's not for you unless you can sit down, shut up, and clap. That's it. It's the 3.
Sit down.
Sit down. So come in, be on time, sit down, take your seat.
Get there on
stay
time.
in your seat.
Stay in your seat until the interval. or
Shut
until
up.
the lighthouse lights
Right?
come up.
Don't say a single word unless there's a fire breaking out or an absolute medical emergency.
Until the front of house staff has come on, or the stage managers come on, called the show to a close, brought in the curtain,
Yeah.
or brought in a nine to say that the performance is paused, stopped, is an interval, or the
Yeah.
end of the show.
Unless there's extraordinary circumstances like that, or it's the interval end of
Or
the
the
show.
artists on the stage are directly speaking to you, asking for a response.
Yeah, then
breaking the
Meg
fourth
Simon said, I
wall.
can't speak to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. So don't say that. Someone looks down to the front row, pants on, and go, "What's your name?" Coming here, you're like,
Nothing.
"Don't do that," because
We'll
you
not
really
break
will.
theatre etiquette.
But generally, shut up. Because you've got the whole life after you leave the theatre to talk about the show with everybody.
Or to explain the part,
Go
or to
to
find
a
out what
coffee
that
shop
line
or a
was,
pub
or
and
whatever.
Talk about it then. You don't have to, as soon as it happens, lean over and be like, oh, blah, blah, blah,
The
blah, blah,
only
blah, blah.
time you can talk, the only time is to say, please put your phone away, you're distracting others.
that's
Please
the-
put your noisy
I
sweets,
see.
your crisps, your drink
Yeah.
to one side because
Okay.
you're distracting the show.
Yeah.
I think that's
There's a
the
little
only
caveat,
exception to
yeah.
the
A
rule.
medical emergency, when you're
I
instructed
think this
to,
person is having
or-
a heart attack, please call a doctor.
Yeah.
Is there a doctor in the house?
Yeah.
These are the only exceptions.
Yeah.
I'm
And the other
trying to
one
think
is
of
clap.
clap.
Like, at least show some sort of appreciation for what you're seeing on stage. Like I say, I'm a big fan of the slow clap. If it's particularly bad, I'm a big fan of that. But at least I'm clapping. Also, do you know what else is weird, guys? I'm completely going to digress here. Why do we bang our hands together as a sign of appreciation? Where did that come from? Where did it come from that we've got to... That's how we show that we're appreciative of someone. We
What else
bang
would we
our
do?
hands. But why would
Whack
we
our
do? But why
arms?
would we do that? I don't know why.
Ooh! I'm
It's
trying to
just-
think what
some
parallel
people do
universe
that.
is there
That they're all doing
where-
something different.
I'm trying to think what other things you're gonna.
Well, deaf people.
Woo! You make a shout.
Deaf people don't clap like this.
No, you
They
show
clap
your
like that.
hands. Absolutely,
But
'cause that's
why
what you
does
can
the rest
see.
of society? Why have we decided?
Because
it's
it's
audible.
kinetic.
But
kinesthetic,
who
it's
decided that? I
audible.
find it ever so. Do you know what? I've got other big. I know.
This is
I've
deep,
got
man.
other big,
Who
deep
knew we'd be
philosophical.
going there?
Colour, that bothers me, and guide dogs don't get it. But anyway, I
In what
digress.
sense?
No, I'm not going to talk about it now. How do they know where they're going? How?
Well, because they learn routes. They learn
So
specific
what happens
routes.
if one day you need to suddenly go somewhere you haven't been before?
I don't know.
Like, or you need to go. You always go to the bank on a Monday, but this year you've got a phone call from the bank saying come in, and it's a Thursday. Your dog's not sat nav, is it? You don't go bank, and it knows what to do.
I just don't. I think it's fascinating.
Well, where does your brain,
My
Lego Simon,
brain.
go? These
This is
mysteries
why
of life. the
Insomnia.
clap and
Insomnia, guys. I don't sleep.
okay.
This is what's happening.
So
in my
interesting. Okay, so whereabouts are we?
I've had a new haircut since the last time you saw me as well.
You have.
It's a new day. New day.
What else are we talking about?
Well, we promised, we like to break our promises by saying we'll see you next week and then we don't see you for an entire month or more. But we said that we'd talk about previews.
Oh,
And
now this is a
press
whole
nights.
can of worms.
Yes. We're not going to
'Cause,
open the can of worms fully, but this was
No
sort of,
names. We'll keep things anonymous,
Yeah,
I
so-
think. But we've had a situation.
The lovely William McKendy, founder of Musical Theatre Appreciation Society, back at the beginning of August, posted a comment into MTAS. And if you're not a member of Musical Theatre Appreciation Society, absolutely do so if you love musical theatre. They're a great community, they're really supportive, they share hints, tips about where to get tickets, what they've seen, what's worth seeing.
They're on Facebook,
Yeah,
is
it's a
where you
Facebook
can find
group.
them. Facebook group.
So search for them,
MTAS.
and Willie is their founder, and said, on the 3rd of August, are press nights becoming less important? There isn't a single person in the industry whose opinion I wait for before actually booking a ticket. So for me, there's no influence there. What about others though? I think social media now plays a much bigger part, and press nights are great nights to dress up, i.e. have a great time, but honestly, even if major reviewers gave a show 1 star, they're sure people would still go and watch it just to see what the fuss is, or perhaps you've already... Also, you've booked your tickets before then. Like, a lot of the time, you've booked your ticket way before the critic sees it, right? Like, Dear Evan Hansen has sold out the complete... I know it's come over from Broadway, you can look at their reviews, but...
It's sold out.
It's
pretty
sold
much.
out
And not
ahead
a
of
single
time.
UK press
And I'm
has
thinking of-
allocated a star rating or given a view.
and I'm thinking of new plays as well. Things like Bitter Wheat, which had John Malkovich there, which sold out the first couple of months of its run, practically, apart from extortionately priced tickets, and then was slated by the press. But did those people that had bought the ticket early not go anymore?
So are we saying are
influence.
press reviews, there's a number of things here, are press reviews relevant,
Yeah.
I guess? Do they mean anything? Do they influence your cognitions to buying a ticket or what you choose to go and see? And are press nights relevant? Do we need them at all? As in, apart from just dressing up and launching the show and getting those little VTs where people will go to the camera.
Pops.
Oh, it's so good. I love the show. It really brought out I loved it. Coming again.
That sounded like that one that you were on.
And it's usually the family of the show. Anyway, so where should we go with this? So reviews, first of all.
Yeah. It's what we're doing, because we review.
We do.
We're talking ourselves out
and
of a
we only
role
give
here,
our
right?
opinion,
And we always
encourage other people's
to go
opinions.
and make your own mind up.
And not everybody agrees with us.
Yeah.
Craig, the starring messenger.
Yeah.
But hello, Craig.
Hi,
we met the
Craig.
other day. But not just Craig. Many people didn't agree with the starring messenger. Many people don't agree with lots of stuff.
No one agrees with my view on Follies.
Only
Not a
Fools and
single
Horses,
soul.
the musical. Oh my goodness! Look
We've
at how
been
many
so
comments
trolled.
on there have been like, "What are you talking
Troll-la-la-la-la-la-la.
about? These guys know nothing." What else has there been where we've just people haven't agreed
Loads
with
of
us?
stuff, I'm sure.
But so I mean, are we important? Are we important?
I don't feel important, but also, who is giving an opinion?
Or is
But we're what I would say is we're not your typical. First and
Isn't it
foremost,
more important about the discussion? Carry on.
First and foremost, we are theatre goers. Like, before
Yes.
anything else, we are passionate about theatre. We love the theatre. We love the experience that we get in theatres. We get so much value from it, and we think it is the most powerful method of telling a story. Like, that is first and foremost what we believe. After that, we chronicle what we see on YouTube as much. So when we get dementia, we can look back on it and see what we thought about things, which is really good. But luckily enough, you love to hear what we think about them as well. But is what we say enough for the majority of people to make a decision whether to see or to avoid a piece?
Yes, because I think probably, I guess if we're raving about something, hopefully that passion is infectious. And when you do see something good, you want to be shouting to your friends, you need to go and see this. Oh my God, you would love this. Oh,
And
this is so good.
our
Please share.
friends are the fellow
You want to
Legos,
share it,
right?
absolutely.
Like
and you
you're our
are
friends.
our community.
Yeah.
And within that community, I think what else is equally important is the discussion that happens afterwards. And if you see a good piece, it will provoke discussion, and you want to talk about why it connects with you and the messages and what angle it's trying to take on life and philosophy, and the good ones on religion and race and equality, and I'm trying to think of all those things, or the taboo subjects that we don't talk about, but you get to see that. Like, there's so much stuff that I think it's just as important to have the discussion, which is where you guys come in as a fellow legger. Your commenting below, I mean, we like to talk about them and say, oh, I didn't know that, or there's something we didn't hear about. Oh,
and I
love
it when you guys communicate with each other. Like, one of you will say, well, I thought this, and then someone else will go, oh, I saw it and I thought the same thing, stuff like that. That's when we get a thrill, when we're encouraging that conversation, guys.
It makes me warm inside.
It does, me
creating
too.
that legger community.
Absolutely.
So are we relevant? Well, I don't even know if we're
relevant.
relevant. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. What shows did you agree with us on?
Yeah.
What shows have you disagreed with us on?
Yeah.
If you haven't commented on the videos yet, let us know which reviews or what shows they were.
Yeah. Because we are talking about opportunities to see a show and to review a show. We recently had an exchange with someone in the industry suggesting that no one should review a show prior to press night.
Now, this...
which for me says you shouldn't have an opinion on the show at all. You shouldn't be entitled to an opinion on a show before press night, because if you are seeing a show and the only time you can see it is press night, the experience you have is the experience before press night.
So you're seeing
it in previews. If that's your only chance to see the show, you're going to have an opinion on it, and you're going to share that opinion with people. Surely, based on your experience, you're not going to then go back later and see it again.
So are we saying that opinion? So the question is viewing a show before press night null and void? Whatever views you have, or opinions, or whatever experience you have, it's null and void. It doesn't matter. Nothing's actually valid until press night. I know a show changes and can change in previews.
Yeah, and we accept that.
I'm trying to think, when I did Jerry way back at National Theatre, we had, I think it was 2.5 weeks of previews, and literally the show changed every performance leading up to opening night. Michael Brandon, God love him, he was the guy playing Jerry. He literally learnt his lines during that preview run. None of us were entirely sure what he was going to be doing, but he managed to put it together. So like, the previews were integral to him finding the part, plus we had afternoon rehearsals where we changed and tweaked all sorts of stuff. Bits were rewritten completely. So I know a lot can change in previews.
I almost think that's acceptable as an argument of saying that maybe you shouldn't if it's a new piece of work and it could be rewritten during that period.
Yes.
If it's an established piece of work and it's just a different
fixed.
production, then I think the piece is the piece fundamentally. For me, in that case, a preview period should be used by the creative team to firm things up. It should be used to make tweaks, but not fundamentally change the entire shape of a show. It should be different lighting cues, perhaps some tweaks in choreography if it's a musical and there's dancing.
I guess you can't change the fundamental core.
You can't, surely. I say that you can't. Actually, I think it's quite different in the UK than it is in the US, because our preview periods tend to be fairly short. On Broadway, they can be months long.
Oh,
so
really?
preview periods on Broadway, I've known shows, Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark is a prime example of this, which lost entire cast members during previews. They stripped out people of jobs because the entire show took on a completely different shape when it got in front of an audience. So there might be bootlegs out there of early Spider-Man Turn Off the Darks where there's almost a Greek chorus telling the story as narrators. By opening night, they'd gone.
Okay.
And they have a much longer period. So I think in the UK, it's almost impossible to totally reshape a show in 2 weeks.
I think it's almost very much about the piece as well. I think you're right, because Martin Guerre, those of you who remember that, Claude Michael Schonenberg and Alan Will, the original sound cast recording has got an amazing cast recording, some of the best orchestrations. However, that show was constantly evolving, and they've then, I think when it went out on tour or they opened out of town, completely rewritten it again. They had a Joanna Riding cast production with different songs and everything. So again, that was a new piece of work that was constantly evolving and being rewritten post press night as well. So maybe there is some flexibility there within that.
Also,
what other shows are there that that have gone through a real transformation?
Yeah.
I guess from post press night.
Also on Broadway, press are invited in to see the show before press night. So press night on Broadway is more of a celebration of the show actually up and running, because they're usually invited in the last few days of previews to give them more of a choice of when they can come. And also because the days of press prints, so historically press night would be press night and all the press would be in, the show would start early, and often they still do due to legacy, because people would write the reviews that night for publication the next day. So they needed, and people would literally run the printed press, the people that had actually written notes to go and actually write a review. As soon as the bows were taking place, you would see them sprinting up the aisles to get back to the office to get it in, because the morning paper was going to print, and that the press would hit that at 2 o'clock in the morning, say, and if you hadn't got it in by then, it wouldn't make the run.
So then, are we saying then, if we're saying, we're kind of saying that the preview process can last a long time, potentially, past press night? I think it depends on the show, right? And
just not as a rule, it's quite short.
But then, are we saying then that you shouldn't see a show
they shouldn't have an audience,
or you can go in, but you can't make a concrete decision
about whether you liked it or not?
You
can't ask people to do that, surely.
I'm trying to think what we have seen in previews. Everybody's talking about Jamie. We saw in previews, and we saw it since.
I've seen it twice since then.
Thoughts haven't changed.
Haven't changed my opinion on it at all.
Exactly the same.
Great
fundamental
show, great
stuff.
Catchy numbers, great heart, got good heart.
Great story.
For us, the characters need to be better developed, the book needs work, and it has not changed.
It's just not dynamic in terms of its staging, its movement.
We're going to hate it for that.
Well, it's no different. I'm looking forward to see what they did with the film.
Yeah.
I love the story. The story means a lot to me.
That's a prime example of when we've gone back and seen it again.
And it's not changed.
Another show we saw in previews, which we've seen since then, is Follies. Our original viewing of Follies we saw, and I didn't like it at all. You thought it was great.
We've seen shows in previews which have been fantastic.
Yes.
Don Marr.
Appropriate was in previews. We gave it a 5.
Second performance.
Yeah, it was its second performance.
And it was amazing.
It was absolutely amazing. So then it becomes like, are you only allowed to have an opinion and share that if it's a good opinion?
Yeah.
If it's a bad opinion, then that's not their fault. That's your fault for seeing it in previews. Oh, sticky situation, right?
Moving slightly away from this then, do people even care? I guess we've talked about critics. Is social media kind of taking the place?
Social media is the new critic, right? Because it's instant opinions from a wide variety of people. Anybody can put out there what they thought of a show, and anyone else can see it. You'll find people that fit into your demographic, and then maybe you'll look to trust their opinions more if they're a younger person or they're female, whatever that might be, that you think they're similar to me, so they've probably got similar tastes, they're an influencer, then surely their opinion has more weight than a printed, anonymous, hidden behind a name sort of thing. Another example of, can we go into the broader range here of critics' opinions on shows? Dogfight at the Southwark.
Oh, there's
Shit
a bit
at
of
the fan there.
There was give a bit of context on this for those who don't know. What's the name of the company? Is it BTAS? Or
just BTA, the British Theatre Academy.
British Theatre Academy. They work with some really talented kids.
So talented, young people, not kids.
I think for the last...
But younger people.
Yeah, for the last couple of years, they've taken
sort of 8 to 24 or something. To
the Southwark Playhouse.
Yes.
We saw Bring It On.
Yes.
Tom.
Good Night, Mr. Tom.
Good Night, Mr. Tom.
Yeah.
They did Spring Awakening. That wasn't at the Southwark.
We saw, but we didn't review it. But Max, who is playing the lead, and everyone's talking about Max Harwood, who's playing. Everybody talking about Jamie's playing Jamie.
In the
he
movie.
Was in Spring Awakening that we saw, and he came through BTA. So the calibre is
top notch. Anyway, so this year they're doing, they're doing Dogfight. They've done
over.
Dogfight. Now, Dogfight is one of my most favourite musicals.
And mine, top 3.
The lyricist and composer are
Pasek and Paul.
Pasek and Paul, who you'll know from The Greatest Showman, Dear Evan Hansen, yeah, good stuff. Oh, La La Land, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Lyricist for that as well. So good stuff. Brilliant show. Love it.
Yeah.
However, what's happened, Lego Simon?
So the wonderful resource, and they are a great resource, and going for a long time, well-respected West End Wilma. They sent a critic to see Dogfight, who hated with a fiery passion the book, basically, the story. And it's based on a film, so it's not like a new story, but found the actual message of it to be so misogynistic, to be so anti-women, to be degrading, to be absolutely sort of they felt with a sort of fiery passion that people were misrepresented, and it was a hideous misogynistic look at life.
Which it is.
Absolutely.
That is the piece.
Yeah.
It is told through the eyes
Horrible.
of these young Marines who are about to be sent off to the Vietnam War.
Yes.
And they have been told that potentially, well, through their training, that they are invincible.
Yeah.
And that they are the best of the best. They're going to go and kick these Vietnamese asses, and they're going to come back heroes. And as such on this, but there's also these undercurrents of tragedy, and that these lads on their last night want to go out and just kick the town, get drunk, because for all they know, it could be their last night on kind of homeland soil before they don't come back again.
Well, they don't think like that though, because they
But
think
they
they're
don't
coming back to a tic-tac
But there's
parade.
always that element of living it now,
Yeah.
going and getting everything now.
And being careless young men, like being totally throwing caution to the wind and being a bad example of a human being, but
Yes.
with all of the flaws of youth, you know.
And as such, they decide to have this dogfight where they have a competition. They all put money into a pot, and they're going to have a party, and whoever brings the ugliest date wins the pot. That's ultimately the
That's the
premise of the. That's where it starts. It develops from there. But I guess there's no spoilers in there because that's told to you in the first 5-10 minutes. That's what the dogfight is.
Yes.
But it's a great commentary, and what happens from there, and the
Those
development
sorts of
of
things
characters.
have happened.
And yeah, this is so
men
much historic.
talk about women in a degrading manner still to this day.
Not saying it's right.
No, absolutely, and the piece is not. It's not glorifying that at all.
No.
But it's showing a certain situation of a certain group of people that actually would have happened, and it doesn't make it right. But they couldn't get past that, the reviewer, to the point where they gave the show a 1-star review and called everything into question. So why the actors were there, and there was a lot of, there was a lot of 2 ways of reading stuff which didn't help. But they were slated for their opinion. But at the end of the day, it's an opinion, right?
Well, I guess where this ties in then, is it the view of the critic? Is it like freedom of speech is then being criticised? Like, surely someone can have their opinion.
Yeah.
It's okay to have your opinion.
Yeah.
But this review was pretty much lampooned, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's wrong or right, because I love Dogfight. So even I was a bit like, what are you saying? But that's just my opinion.
Yep.
And I respect other people for theirs.
And a lot of people were saying judge the production and the performance is not the piece then, but that's difficult to do as well, because if a piece is bad, you could have the greatest actor that's ever lived, and ultimately the piece is bad.
And that's
We've
always...
talked about this before in other Anybody Have a Mouse. If a piece is bad, is it bad?
And plus there's so much more to that. You can feel uncomfortable about the piece, but still then appreciate the performances and the lighting of the set, of the staging and the musicality, the numbers, which is why I always say we hate the question. I hate being asked the question,
What
the
did you
closed, loaded question, did you enjoy the show?
Difficult.
Because there's so much more to a show than
Just pure enjoyment.
pure enjoyment. My enjoyment is made up of so many elements. I could have hated the show. No, I didn't enjoy it at all. But I really loved the performances of certain people, or what they brought to it, and the lighting in certain bits, or the use of music. There could be bits I love, but enjoy. Don't ask that question.
Even
It's the
Only
worst
Fools and
question to
Horses,
ask.
which we pretty much hated. We crazily and enthusiastically praised the way that the actors had channeled those iconic characters, and the fact that Paul Whitehouse playing Grandad and Uncle Arthur, and the guy Ryan Hutton who played Rodney, because it's a real skill to be able to mimic an iconic character that's been portrayed by somebody else, and that's what people are going for. So that was something, ultimately we still gave it 1. But that didn't mean that within our review there wasn't some praise, because
we were just so offended that the music was
because
so
it
bad.
shouldn't have been a musical.
But John Sullivan's book was great.
If it had been a play, as you said
As
at the
we
time,
said,
and
as
those
keep
characters had been
saying.
acting out scenes from the show, it wouldn't have been a 1.
Only Fools and
wouldn't
Horses
have been a 1.
live on
Build
stage.
yourself as a musical, you open yourselves up to a completely different level of criticism.
We will judge you as a musical.
We will judge you as a musical.
Anyway, need to take deep breaths on that one. Okay, I don't know where we're going and what we're saying on this.
I think what we are saying is whose opinion is more valid. How do you shape your own opinion? What do you take into consideration?
Yes. I
So,
think. And what do you think of Dogfight? Throw that
just
in there
because we
as well.
want to know. I think, you know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to do it.
What's that?
I'm going to put a little playlist together for this one, musical playlist.
What do you mean?
Break-a-leggers playlist of maybe 10 songs that we enjoy or are playing in shows that we've seen recently, and I'm going to put them all together on Spotify, make it public.
Nice, I see what you're doing here.
And I'm going to put the link in the description below, so
Cool.
you can, any shows that we've seen recently, like musicals we've seen that you might have seen our reviews for, if I can get a track from that, anything we've heard and we're excited about, any of our favourite bits of, I'll put in a track from Dogfight, anything we've mentioned or talked about, I'm going to pop it in a playlist. 10 tracks.
Do you know
Let's
what
see how long
else,
I can keep this.
Do you know what else has happened, Leg of Simon? Do you know what else has happened, Leg of
What?
Simon? We've sung a song.
Yes,
We
guys.
sang our song. We put it at the start of this video.
It's done. You asked for it. Don't blame us. Don't at us.
Don't hate us.
You asked for that.
Yeah.
You did.
So I'm not sure if I want to do that again because that was stressful.
Gee, that's not a bad idea. Perhaps we can use it. I don't know when we're...
And it's art to showcase for fame.
Springboard. Hey, maybe Jay will show again.
And it's art to showcase for fame.
And we'll... Then I've got to trademark it, it's gonna go.
And if they sell out...
Yeah, well, I would never
we'll see
do
what
that.
the comments say as to whether we think about
This will
doing
beat
something
Follies
in
as
the
our
future.
most disliked video ever.
Yeah,
It will
well,
beat Follies.
Like, dislike, better to be something, don't be nothing.
Absolutely. So next time I want to talk about something else which came up recently in discussion, was, is Broadway better than the West End?
Now, are we going to be able to give some context when we talk about that?
A little bit. And also, tours, where do they sit in this world?
Okay.
You know, if you've got a hierarchical put where productions sit, should you expect less of a
And
tour
should we
than the
make
West
concessions?
End? Should we make concessions?
In what our expectations?
Upcoming for a future, anybody have a map? So
Because
please.
we just have these experiences and encounters,
Yeah.
and these things feed
Make
into
great material, don't
these
they?
discussions.
Great material. Anyway, guys, I think we should wrap it up because this is a bumper edition because
Are we making up for when
we've
we're
been
away?
away from you. But it's lovely to keep hearing from you. We love to chat with you about these sorts of things, and for as long as you're there, we'll keep making them. Although we might not keep singing.
Yeah. We're the Break-a-Leggers.
We'll catch you again soon.
Bye.